everybody, Captain Bill here from the sailing vessel Harmony, talking today about what makes a proper slow pitch jigging rod and reel. If you're new to fishing, a rod might look pretty much just like a bendy stick, but there's much more to it than that. A good fishing rod has been engineered to do its job really well. The complexity is in defining exactly what the most important job for a given fishing rod is. One example of this specialization would be rods designed for fly fishing. Their primary job is to cast a lure that weighs no more than a feather accurately and delicately to a feeding fish. Everything else is secondary. A surf casting rod is designed to throw a heavy lure or bait as far into the ocean as physically possible. A rod made for offshore trolling is made to give the fisherman as much leverage and control as possible while fighting a very large fish on strong line. If you're assembling a kit for slow pitch jigging, the rod should be where you spend most of your money. Although they might look like any other fishing rod, they really are specialized tools that have unique features. A rod made for slow pitch jigging is made expressly for manipulating jigs like these with minimum effort on the part of the fisherman and giving the maximum amount of feel. They're really quite different from the rods most fishermen are used to. This is the outfit I've been using for quite a while now. I think it's pretty amazing. It's so sensitive, I imagine I can feel the fish look at my jig hundreds of feet below the boat. It's amazingly light. I'm sure the gear I used fishing for sunfish as a kid in the local lake weighed more than this. And this outfit is more than capable of dealing with some seriously big fish. The light weight really helps when you're fishing all day with a rod in your hands. Here's what these rods look like in action. Notice how with every crank of the reel handle, the rod bends deeply, then straightens out and bounces. This is what the Japanese call pitching the jig, and is the reason these rods exist and why they are rated more for the size of the jig you're using than anything else. Here's a demonstration of how a slow pitch jigging rod differs from a conventional jigging rod. Both of these rods are rated for the same line strength and the same weight of jig. Watch the difference when I hang the same amount of weight on each rod tip. The difference is not just in the amount the rod bends, although that's certainly significant. But what's really important is the way the bend is distributed down the length of the rod blank. The traditional Western jigging rod has most of the bend out toward the tip of the rod, while the rod designed for slow pitch jigging, the bend is distributed much more evenly down the length of the rod blank. This is what the rod salesmen have come to call a parabolic action. The high modulus graphite a good slow pitch jigging rod is made from has very fast recovery when they are released from a load. This is one of the properties that make them such sensitive tools. Because they bend so deeply when fighting a large fish, a conventional arrangement of guides with a conventional reel challenges the rod designer. In the best of all possible worlds, the line would never touch the rod as it bent while fighting a large fish. But that requires a lot of guides, which adds unwanted stiffness and weight. So what to do? The best answer to this problem is what has come to be known as a spiral wrapped rod, or sometimes called acid wrapped rod. The guides start on top of the rod in line with the reel and then spiral around it until the tip guide is oriented 180 degrees to the reel underneath the rod. Why is it called acid wrapped? The story I heard is the rod builder in California who invented it was on acid when he dreamed up the solution to this problem. I read it on the internet. It must be true. Typically featured on higher end rods, it's a nice but not essential feature. Rods are hard enough for experienced fishermen to pick out when you can pick them up and physically touch them in a store. It's impossible to select one based solely on a written description in the internet. Check out our page at thefishingsailor.com/jigging tackle for recommendations for specific rod models at a couple different price points. The reel is probably the least critical tackle choice you'll make. There are a lot of great ones on the market. The market's pretty tough. Crappy reels don't sell well and they don't stay on the market long. A good reel is a delight, a bad one's a constant struggle. If you pick a moderately priced reel from a major manufacturer of the size you need and the features you like, you'll do fine. For this kind of fishing, there are a couple of reel design features that are important and some that are not. It's a good idea to pay for the ones that are important and skip the ones you don't care about. For fishing in 200 to 1,000 feet of water, I like a line capacity of at least 500 yards. Anything over 1,200 yards doesn't hurt, but probably isn't adding much value. For this reason, the reel model you pick will depend on the line you plan to fish with. If you're going to be using 20-pound line, you'll be using a smaller reel than if you want to beef it up to 50 or 60-pound line. The smaller reel will be lighter, less tiring to handle, but it can leave you susceptible to being overwhelmed by a really big fish. The lever drag has become the symbol of high-end and high-end pretender reels. It's a great feature on a trolling reel like this, but on a jigging rod, it's really not that much help. If you want one, sure, go ahead and get it, but I prefer the simple star drag. It's more robust, lasts longer, and is simpler. One feature I do like is a click on the drag as I adjust it. As we've gotten smaller diameter lines that are stronger, we can put really strong lines on pretty small reels. That sort of led to an advertising arms race among different brands who each claim how strong their drag is. Don't really worry about it. If you're fishing with 20-pound line, you're never going to set a drag of more than 10 pounds. Even if you're using 50-pound line, a 20-pound drag is all you'll ever need. For the kind of fishing we're discussing here, one of the features we do want is a high-speed retrieve. Most manufacturers quote the amount of line retrieved per turn of the reel handle. Consider 36 inches as a minimum when you're shopping. More than that, can be nice, but don't make it the only thing you consider. Most of the time, I prefer a reel with a narrower, deeper spool instead of one that's wide and shallow. When the reel is full, it gives you a lot of speed on retrieving line. As a fish runs off a lot of line, you get a little more cranking power. For specific rod and reel recommendations, go to our website at thefishingsailor.com. For those of us fishing from cruising sailboats, vertical jigging is a highly productive way of catching fish. Using good gear, well matched to the kind of fishing you will do, will catch you more fish. It'll be easier and you'll have more fun. So after you look at our website, thefishingsailor.com, and don't forget to click the logo here so you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you know when more information is put up. Fair winds, stay safe, have fun.